Should you have a downsell? What's going on, guys? I am Ravi Abuvala, founder of Scaling with Systems, where we help entrepreneurs massively and quickly and profitably scale their business to $1 million in 12 months or less. And the number one question that I get from my clients, specifically my clients that we set up paid ads for and sales funnels and we're running a profitable paid advertising campaign is, should I have a downsell? Ravi, I'm getting all these people on the phone and only a certain percentage of them, fit into my main offer over here. And I'm thinking about creating a downsell offer so that I can at least recoup some of that advertising spend, or at least motivate my salespeople to make a little bit more money, or whatever the other reason people are creating in their head for a downsell. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to you specifically about why having a downsell is a terrible idea and what you should be doing instead. And then at the very end, I'm going to give you my specific example of having a downsell inside my company and what a disaster that was. So first and foremost, why you should not have a downsell is because it is not necessarily what's best for the customer. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you have a package over here for $5,000 and you run some kind of sales call funnel where you get on the phone with your prospects before you close them into your company. Well, you should follow what's known as consultative selling. And I have a whole nother video on that I'll link in the description down below. You can check out. But the idea behind consultative selling is that you are listening to the prospect and you're understanding what their pain points are, what their desires are, where they're currently at. And based on that information, you are then suggesting or consulting to them that they should buy this main product over here, only if it makes sense and only if there is a fit, okay? So that is what most of you should be doing or are doing with your main offer. And let's say, for example, this is a $5,000 offer over here for your main offer, okay? The issue is that as a consultant, after you hear all the information and based on all the feedback, if they are a good fit, which is not going to be all the time, you're going to tell them, hey, based on everything you're saying, I actually think that this main package for $5,000 is the absolute best way for you to get to your desired state. Well, if they come back to you and they say, I don't think so, or no, that's a little too expensive for me, and you're focused more on profit than you are on actually helping your customers or your prospects, then you're immediately going to turn around and go, oh, okay, well then here's a $1,000 version of our course or our program or our service that's cheaper, that's something that you can afford. You should just buy that instead. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, you just listened to everything that I said for 45 minutes and you told me that this is absolutely the solution to all my problems. But then when I told you that I couldn't afford that or this didn't make sense, you just said, oh, no, this is the solution to all of my problems. And unfortunately, that's a mistake I see, especially in the online high ticket world, is that these entrepreneurs are more focused on how do I make as much money as possible versus doing what is right for their prospect or their customer. And ironically, the latter of those two things is actually what's going to make you the most money possible, which I'm going to talk about here a little bit later. But you should not be trying to sell everybody one thing over here and then immediately they say that they can't afford it. And then you're like, oh, well, here's this downsell. Come buy this thing instead so I can make as much money from you, because you will break rapport. You will break trust with your prospect and you'll end up selling people that shouldn't be buying your stuff in the first place. The second reason why downsells are a terrible idea is because you should not be selling to everybody. This seems to be a very difficult concept to get through people's head. And I understand why. So let's say you have this $5,000 package or product over here and you've been selling it for a while and it's selling decently well, okay? Well, you're getting on the phone with a bunch of people who aren't a good fit for it. And if you're like some of my clients, we're using paid ads in order to get them on the call, or you're using content, organic marketing, whatever else it is to get them on the call. So there's time and energy dedicated to getting them on the call right here. And if they're not a good fit, instead of quote unquote wasting that lead, you're like, okay, well, let me downsell them on this thing over here. But what people are not grasping is that you shouldn't be selling to everybody. You should just be selling to the people that match this product over here. If you try to sell to everybody, then you are essentially selling to nobody. And that's where the idea of niches, or the riches are in the niches, or niching down, or whatever else it is, makes a lot of sense. Because if you're just spewing your marketing message everywhere saying, I help every single person that has a pulse, I can sell you anything, then you're not really going to have any resonance in your marketplace. And unless you're selling to some massively crazy obscure niche like chiropractors that are also harp players, that also speak Italian, that also live in Dahlonega, Georgia, then you will not really ever reach market saturation by just selling your main product over here. Now, I do believe in upsells of selling people that are already great fits, additional things that they can use. But downselling them, well, most of the time people are only doing that because they just want to recoup the money as quickly as possible, and they just want to sell to all the people they're getting on the phone with, what in reality, what you might have in place instead is a better curation process. So for example, inside of our company, Scaling Systems, we cancel about 70 to 75% of the people that book appointments with us on our calendar because they're not a good fit. So before we even waste the salesperson time by saying, hey, this person, getting on the phone with them and seeing if they're a good fit, we'll see based on their application and our first, triage call or discovery call with them that they're not a good fit. And instead of just trying to sell them into something immediately, we just cancel the appointment altogether. The third reason why I think downsells are a terrible idea is because if you have a sales team, then in my personal experience, salespeople will use the downsell as a crutch. And let me explain here. So you are a salesperson. Let's take a very objective step back in your life and say maybe you're a CEO or an entrepreneur, whatever else it is. And let's say that you're your salesperson. You have a certain amount of calls every single day that you can take. And, unless you're a Scaling with Systems client, you're probably only taking like 3 calls a day, 4 calls a day, whatever else it is. And so they have a finite amount of opportunity that they can make money selling your products. And most salespeople are on a commission-only basis. Well, most of the time, they're trying to sell this main package, this $5,000 offer over here. Well, if they get to the end and they're trying to sell this person on this $5,000 package over here, and it turns out that that person cannot afford that $5,000 package, they would like something to be able to get some kind of ROI for their time and energy. And so they'd like to just, okay, well then buy this thing over here. And it's an easier sell because it's less money, although that's not always the case. And so most times salespeople will use this downsell over here as a crutch in order to get money in the door. And the only reason why, which I'm going to talk about this specific example at the end here, I even created a downsell in the very beginning was because my salespeople were begging me to create one so that they could get a return on investment for their time and a return on investment for my advertising spend. Although ironically, what I noticed, because we are a very data-driven company, is that our close percentage for our main offer actually lowered when we started doing a downsell, which means that people were starting to sell the downsell more than they were selling the main offer. And the other thing was we were collecting less cash because the downsell was less money in the end. And the reasons why I think that is the case is because if you get a prospect and you pitch them on this main thing and you're a salesperson and you sell them this $5,000, they can't do it. Instead of trying to go back and forth and handling objections and looping the prospect like a good salesperson would, they just crumble like a house of cards and they go, okay, just buy this $1,000 one right now. And it breaks rapport, it breaks trust, but they're just trying to get the cash in the door instead of handling this $5,000 one back and forth because they're committed to it, and that is the thing that the prospect actually needs. And in that instance, there may be a chance that that prospect says, no, this is not what I want. The $5,000 thing doesn't make sense. And then they've lost the deal. Okay. So in my experience, when you have salespeople, a lot of times they will use the downsell as a crutch. And if you're an entrepreneur that has salespeople, just be wary that they might start bringing up the idea of creating a downsell in the end. And the fourth reason why downsells are a terrible idea, and then I'm going to give you an example of how to fix it and how I did it in my company, is that it is a downsell in its essence, an oxymoron. Now, for those of you watching at home that don't know what an oxymoron is, no, I'm not calling you a name. What an oxymoron is essentially when you have two ideas that are conflicting or contradictory together in one. And how is that relevant to a downsell? Well, this is what I have learned, and this is the main reason why I do not do downsells inside of my company, because it is not what is best for the customer. Because if the main reason why having a downsell is for financial reasons, right? So let's say you have the $5,000 package and then the $1,000 package, and they really could use a $5,000 package, but they literally can't afford it. They don't have the money. So you downsell them on the $1,000 package. The ironic part about it, the oxymoron, the reason why that makes no sense is because the people that can't afford the $5,000, in my personal experience, need the most help. They need the most support. They need the most one-on-one access. They need the most hand-holding. Yet, by its very nature, you downsell them into the $1,000 thing, which cannot have as much support as the $5,000 thing, because it economically does not make sense. So you downsell them into the thing that is literally the least amount of help that they can get, and they need the most help. And that's why a lot of people that I know that do downsells have a lot of refunds, they have a lot of chargebacks, they have a lot of issues with it, because these are the people that need the most help, yet they get the least amount of it. And that brings me to my really specific example, my advertising agency, Prospect Social. We used to work with real estate agents, and our package was $2,500 a month, which is pretty expensive for a real estate advertising package, but we did really well. We had hundreds and hundreds of clients, but I was trying to quote unquote recoup my advertising spend. And my salespeople were pushing me, oh, we need a downsell. Not everybody can afford this, but they see the value in it. They really want to work with you. They want to learn from you. So I created a course for $697 I called Commissions on Demand. And what we did was, when they couldn't afford the $2,500 one, instead of trying to sell them more and more and try to handle with them, maybe create a payment plan that works with them, whatever else it is, they sold them on the $697 package, which was literally just a digital course. There was nothing else involved in it. And what ended up happening was exactly what I talked about a second ago. My salespeople were using it as a crutch, number one. Number two, it wasn't the best thing for the prospect because they needed the most help possible and they were getting the least amount of it. And number three, we were trying to sell to everybody when these people didn't even know how to close a home or even how to be a great real estate agent. And we were just trying to take their money so we could have more profit inside the company. And what ended up happening was we had a lot of refunds, a lot of chargebacks, a lot of complaints from this $697 digital course that I had over here. But our main one, $2,500 a month, was having no issues whatsoever. And it ended up being this burden and this issue that my support team kept on having to take care of, and my accountant and all of this stuff, that eventually I just canceled it. And here is the solution for those of you that are wanting to do downsell. We essentially just canceled that $697 digital product, and I just included it inside of the $2,500 a month program, right? And so now I gave them, as part of the $2,500 a month program, a digital course that just made them a better real estate agent in the end, that allowed them to close more deals and stay with me longer, renew their contract with me longer. And sure, we still said no to the people that weren't a good fit, but the people that were a right fit were saying yes more often, and they were staying with me longer because they were seeing more success from putting that content in there. So what is the moral of the story there? The moral of the story is that instead of doing a downsell, most of the time, save some existential edge case, it makes more sense to just that content that you have that you're trying to downsell, you simply just give it away for free, or you include it inside of your main package. And when you do that, you will end up making more money. I almost guarantee it. For example, as a totally shameless plug, in the link in the description down below, you can get access to totally free content that most people would charge thousands of dollars for, that I put together in a brand new free training that you can watch, that literally teaches you how to take your business to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. We show you the messaging you should use, the channels you should use it on, who to hire, when to hire, how to use advertising campaigns, how to create sales funnels, in a totally free training. And I could charge for that. I've had people message me and email us or become clients and say, you know, I made $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 just from your free content, and now I want to become a client of yours. So I could easily charge for that, but it doesn't make sense. And when it's free, people don't have expectations that they need to have all this support or whatever else it is. But then when it's free and it could be charged for, meaning it has that much value and they get that much stuff, then intrinsically in people's brains, because of the law of reciprocity, they think, wow, I got this thing for free from this person. What happens when I pay them money? And that's why free trainings, free courses, you can get links in the description down below to get access to all that stuff, works, because you are showing them this is the stuff you can get for free. And the reason why most people don't have great sales funnels is because their free stuff is so shitty that they don't ever want to work with them even anymore, which is why I make it a habit to make my free stuff as valuable as most people's downsells or even full packages. So hopefully you guys got value out of this video. If you did, be sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe, comment down below your experience with downsells, because maybe I could be wrong. I'm always down to listen to other people's opinions, and I will see you all on the next video.
Okay.